For those of you who don't know, my name's Wallace. I play a character called Sally on Hollyoaks, and we thought we were making progress up to a certain point, up to maybe 6 years ago, and then suddenly this backlash. And the backlash doesn't matter if it's in people's heads, because it's always been in people's heads. People have always gone yucked up about any LGBT person. But when it starts to become legitimised on the press and on the internet, and it's given credence by academics, professionals, and MP, then there comes a point where we have to say no more. This is the line in the sand. I transitioned a very long time ago, over 30 years. And for 30 years, I've led a peaceful life as my true self, legally, socially, and haven't had problems in many of the ways that many people within the community have. And some people need protection more than others, and that's a fact. But even those of us who've had what I would call the easy life are now finding a prospect of having these rights actively taken away from us. It's not just rhetoric. We know that there's a pressure going on within the government and within the advisors that they want to see things changing in the Equality Act. They're not so bothered about the Gender Recognition Act because secretly they know that it doesn't really mean anything unless you want to get married or you want to die with dignity. No, this is the Equality Act we're talking about, which was a combination of a number of human rights acts that existed before and were consolidated in 2010 to protect everyone. And gender reassignment is one of these characteristics. And gender reassignment does mean gender identity, because gender reassignment can mean anybody at the stage or progress that they are at any particular time. And that means someone who's 1 day into transition is protected by the Equality Act, and they want to take those rights from us. And they will not do it! And also the fact that in the last 4 or 5 days, 20,000 signatures have been made to the open letter that has been delivered to the Director General of this corporation, which I believe to be institutionally transphobic, but I'd also like to qualify that. The BBC is an absolutely massive organisation. It's on a scale most of us have no idea about. 20,000 employees over the entire country, multiple radio stations, television stations, outreach projects, education, children's, natural history, and all of these wonderful groups that employ thousands of people are being shamed by the Current Affairs Department, who, starting with Newsnight, carrying on to the website, and all through the general tone of the news, are condemning trans people on a regular basis. The Current Affairs Department are the people that we have to fight with. Do you know something? CBBC, we love you! We do! I do love the BBC. I'm a licence payer. I know a lot of people don't like paying the licence, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm a licence payer because I believe in the entertainment and cultural content that this corporation puts out. But when they let themselves down from the top to the bottom of the Current Affairs Department, and then the Director General doubles down and supports them. One of the people that they had interviewed on that particular article, you can easily find it if you've not seen it, turns out that they are a sex offender themselves and have actually acknowledged it and apologised for it. And yet this person was apparently judged to be a suitable person to give an opinion on the dangers that trans people are potentially about to commit. It's ridiculous!
Being a trans woman and being a trans woman of colour, when I see stuff like this, it really makes me angry, and it really makes me want to stand up, because the more visible we are, the more we are prone to this type of horrendous behaviour, and it just won't stand. And we need to remember that together, collectively, and I'm not just talking about trans people, I'm talking about trans allies, together are unstoppable. And I want everyone to know that when I look out at all of you, I see nothing but strength, I see nothing but courage, and that is what they are all afraid of. So they will keep pushing back, but we're going to push back even harder. So what I really want is, no matter how you want to express yourself, never apologize for it, because you are beautiful and you are valid and you have the right to take as much space as you want. So make sure that you express yourself however you want, whether you are a performer, whether you are a writer, whether you are a creative, or whether you just want to walk down the day, you know what, this is who I am. If you don't like what I'm cooking, don't eat it.
I talk to parents who are scared for their kids for expressing themselves. Parents are scared because of this misinformation, this bias bigotry that the BBC perpetrates, and the Times, and so many other media outlets. And it's not fair, because it is lies, and we're paying for that. That's not fair, and it's not true. That is not what our community is about, and that's why we're here, to set the record straight. Not really.
My name's Lizzie, I'm a cis lesbian, and I just want to say the article that was published by the BBC is bullshit and it's not representative at all of our community. So I just want to say to Simone, everybody else, trans, non-binary, and part of the LGBTQIA plus here, you're welcome as an ally, hopefully, by turning up to events like this. So after 3, I want you to all shout, fuck you, BBC. 1, 2, 3. Fuck you, BBC. Thank you.
I was always told I was lucky to be born in the 21st century, that I would never have to fight for my rights, that life was going to be easy for me as a trans person, and that was a lie.
18 years old, starting university, just finished school where we had Section 28 all through my childhood, all through that schooling. I hadn't given much thought to trans people, I've got to be honest here, and it wasn't until I started going things like NUS LGBT conference was back then. We were having these conversations, we were having these debates about whether we should become LGBT or stay as LGBT. I watched people arguing that T was separate, that T should be, yeah, we'll kind of support them, but they'll just be over there, we'll let the straights in. That was their argument. We'll let the straights in. I very quickly came to the very, very opposite conclusion. It was not a difficult decision, not a difficult place to go to. But I just wanted to say, we won. We got there. We got rid of Section 28. NUS became NUS LGBT. Stonewall became trans-inclusive eventually. What we are seeing now is the backlash. These same people who want to isolate, and we can't let them win. We're not going to let them win. They are losing. This is why they're putting up such a fight. We are going to win. Solidarity to you all.
Talk a little bit about how the BBC could improve, which is in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to trans things. Representation is vastly important and helped me realise who I was, much in the way of trans people, for a very long time. And it wasn't until, I think it was early 2019, there was a live stream event happening to do with Donkey Kong, and that was really, really vital in helping me figure out who I was. Representation severely matters. It is desperately needed. I am a much healthier mentally person than I was back then because I have figured out what's been wrong all these years. And that's not a rare story. Like people grow up along for like years and years and they don't realise what this thing is, this ghost that's been haunting their lives, crashing their mental health for years, and then everything clicks. We need to help people who are struggling and don't realise, get that click.
They call us mentally ill. If you can't prove it to the way that they want you to, they call you a liar. The recognition for non-binary people does not exist, and we all know it. And when articles like this come out and say that we're dangerous and that people are predators and that they're liars, all it does is it further propagates that violence against us that we all know is still constantly happening. Whether it's somebody you know saying something about something they saw on TV, and it happens, maybe something they saw on the BBC, and you have to swallow that, or it's not feeling safe when you walk down the street. These things continuously, even when all they do is they push this rhetoric, they inform the opinions of people around us, who then say nothing when our rights are debated. The cis people that claim to love us or support us, or maybe really do, but it needs to be everybody. We have to show up for this stuff, and we all do it, and I'm sure there are people who have spent a long time showing up where they weren't out, and they couldn't be who they wanted to be. And there are people out there that we probably don't even know they're dealing with the same things. They're in our sphere, don't know that they're trans. And so yeah, we have to be vocal against not just the debate over our rights, but over these acts that incite violence against us. That was it, thank you.
In high school, the word gay used as a stick to beat me over the head. I even remember one time where I just found this little ring with like a plastic bug on it, and wore that because I thought it was cool, and one of the teacher's assistants actually questioned whether I was supposed to be a boy or not because of a single ring. This is how utterly ridiculous the whole culture of gender norms has become, and I have seen this exact same rhetoric just cannot debate anymore that, you know, they are just regular people wanting the same rights as us. It's shifted towards trans and non-binary friends and constantly pushing back with hate and disinformation campaigns. And now we see the institutional result of this. We see the BBC uncritically propagating these lies and this hate campaign, and we have to stand here and say, no more. This is rubbish, this is misinformation, this is dangerous.
I went to my first London Pride in 2019 and I was on the Mermaids bus because I'm a patron of mermaids. Proud patron who are having a wonderful weekend away this weekend. I hope the weather stays good for them. And what I saw from the top of that bus was a sea of trans and rainbow flags. Not just rainbow flags, trans and rainbow flags. The outpouring of support for the trans community at that event was incredibly honouring and fabulous, and it actually showed me in stark relief that the people who are getting all this publicity are this tiny minority of malcontents, and we have to bear this in mind. And I say this to any trans person who's here or will see this online or whatever like that. You are supported. You are loved. You are the future, and you mustn't let these people convince you that you are not.
I've seen lots of people say that things like puberty blockers are untested, that we don't know the long-term effect. There are lots and lots of medication that are not based on particular. So if I'm on something that is actually an anti-epileptic. I'm not epileptic, I have chronic pain. Those two things aren't related. So basically, we know the long-term effects of things like blockers because they have grown for a long time. Cis children who start puberty early know those side effects, know the side effects of things like hormone replacement therapy. They're prescribed to cis people, may not have the appropriate level of hormones. Drugs aren't dangerous, we know what they are.
There is intended to be equality before the law, and we are not yet there. And while we have people in a position of power, people who advocate professionally, taking that sort of populist, nonsensical and violent view and bringing it to the media who are lapping it up in the way that that article represents, we will not have equality before the law.
I want everyone to shout out where they've come from today, and I want to see just how many different places people have come from. 1, 2, 3! Hearing a lot of Salford, but a lot of other places. Thank you so much, everyone who's come.